I want to talk about another issue, which is obviously climate change and energy. I was horrified by this idea that Matthew Guy has put out that the Liberals in Victoria, it's all a unity ticket. We're all on the same page on climate change. So he's saying that net zero by 2050, yes, the Liberals in Victoria are going to, in solidarity and lockstep with the Dan Andrews government. That's not exactly opposition tactics, is it? Well, were you leader, how would you be approaching it, Tim Smith?
Well, the AEMO report that was released today says that all coal-fired power stations in Victoria will be closed down by 2032. Now, that's bonkers.
Everything.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Alinta had planned to close Loy Yang B in 2047. So this is bringing that forward 15 years. Now, remembering 60 to 70% at peak periods, our energy comes from coal all over Australia, but particularly in Victoria, where I might add we have 400 years of very cheap brown coal still in the ground. But because of the climate crusade that clearly the Victorian Liberal Party is now committed to, I ask this question: what on earth is little Victoria going to do to fix global warming?
Yes.
Pardon me for being a cynic, but we need to keep the lights on. The Liberal Party needs to be worried about three things: keeping the lights on, keeping energy prices low for vulnerable Victorians, and ensuring there is sufficient supply that heavy industry can, for one, survive in Victoria, and two, potentially be attracted to come back to Victoria. Now, we also don't have the infrastructure. So, for example, the poles and the wires, if we're going to start building propellers in the countryside everywhere, well, we actually have a really big problem, which is connecting those propellers to the grid. And the other thing AEMO said today, that we need urgent investment in poles and wires into the grid to connect solar panels and propellers and all the other fandangled ideas that these public servants have about how we're going to keep the lights on in the years to come. It's not real world. It's hocus pocus, and we're going to run into the famous saying in a sport I used to be a part of called rowing. You're going to end up where you're heading. We are heading into a brick wall, and that brick wall is going to be frankly, crackers energy policy that's going to result in the lights going off and power prices going through the roof. It's already happening now.
It's already happening around the world, and we see, Tim, in Britain, we see that they're now going, whoops, oh, hang on, net zero, that was a mistake. Let's slash all the red tape so that the energy companies don't have to worry about that. We've seen in the United States, I just played earlier that clip of the Energy Secretary there saying, oh, we need more immediately, urgently. We need coal and we need gas because we're going to get rid of coal and we're going to get rid of gas. And this is the absurdity that you refer to, this mass delusion that is going on. We've seen Chris Bowen is going to stick to his guns because that's how he talks, and he's not going to budge, and he's not even going to consider nuclear, which is clearly the cheapest option, which has been identified as such by various sources.
You very kindly published a piece of mine in The Spectator
Always a pleasure.
Some weeks back, where I made the point that in 1968, the Liberal government led by Henry Bolte had a very important decision to make. Would they build a new coal-fired power station in the Latrobe Valley, or would they build Australia's first nuclear power plant on French Island, which for your non-Victorian viewers is in Western Port Bay? There's a few kangaroos, not much else that lives there. Unfortunately, they went with the cheap option, which was another coal-fired power station in Hazelwood. Imagine had the Bolte government committed to that nuclear power station that would have been up and running by 1980. That crackers anti-nuclear movement in the mid-1980s that really put the country back decades. Where would we be now? We'd be a nuclear. We have one of the largest sources of natural uranium anywhere in the world. We would be a nuclear power.
We would be a nuclear power, and we wouldn't have AGL announcing that they're slugging New South Wales energy customers for another extra $300 at the same time as the government promised they'd be reducing bills by $275. So that's clearly, a farcical situation that we have landed in. You were right, we missed out there.